XRP is trying to recover after one of its roughest stretches in months. But the big question right now is simple. Is this a buying opportunity, or just a pause before another move lower? At the moment, XRP is trading around the $1.20 level after recently falling into a major support zone, and depending on who you ask, the next move could be significant in either direction. On one side, bears point to the weak chart. On the other, bulls are looking at improving fundamentals and growing institutional interest. And honestly, that's what makes XRP one of the most interesting charts in crypto right now. Let's start with the bullish case. Despite recent volatility, XRP continues benefiting from one major trend that wasn't around a few years ago: institutional adoption. Over the past year, we've seen growing interest in XRP-related investment products, ETF discussions, and increasing attention from large financial players looking at blockchain-based payment infrastructure. Some analysts also point to regulatory progress in the United States as a potential long-term catalyst for XRP and the broader crypto market. The other thing worth noting is sentiment. Believe it or not, some of the strongest rallies in crypto history started when sentiment looked terrible. Right now, many traders are still extremely cautious after the recent market-wide sell-off, and that's often when opportunities begin showing up. Now let's talk about the chart. XRP has been struggling to regain momentum after falling from higher levels earlier this year. The token remains highly correlated with Bitcoin and the broader crypto market, which means XRP's next major move may depend just as much on what Bitcoin does as what XRP does itself. If Bitcoin stabilizes and risk appetite returns, XRP could have room to push higher. If crypto remains under pressure, XRP may continue chopping sideways or retesting lower support levels. That's why traders are watching key support and resistance zones so closely right now. What's interesting is that prediction markets remain surprisingly cautious. Recent market data suggests many traders are expecting XRP to remain range-bound rather than immediately exploding higher. Some market participants are even assigning meaningful odds that XRP could revisit the $1 area before finding stronger momentum. In other words, the market hasn't fully committed to either direction yet, and that's usually where volatility comes from. Now, stepping back from XRP for a moment, I think this story highlights something bigger happening across crypto. The next phase of growth may not come from one chain winning. Bitcoin has the liquidity, Ethereum dominates DeFi, Solana brings speed, and increasingly, developers are trying to connect all of them together. That's why projects focused on interoperability have been getting more attention recently. One example is LiquidChain. Not financial advice, obviously, but LiquidChain is currently priced around $0.01468 during its Layer 3 presale, with another price increase expected in just over 2 days. What makes the project interesting is its goal of connecting Bitcoin liquidity, Ethereum's DeFi ecosystem, and Solana's speed into one unified execution layer. Instead of separate blockchain silos competing against each other, the idea is to create deeper liquidity and smoother movement across ecosystems. And honestly, whether LiquidChain succeeds or not, the broader trend toward cross-chain infrastructure is becoming increasingly obvious across the industry. Now, if you're participating in pre-sales or managing crypto across multiple chains, you'll also find a link to the best wallet app in the description below. A lot of investors use it to manage assets, track new opportunities, and keep everything organized in one place. Bringing it back to XRP, the setup right now is pretty straightforward. The chart is still trying to recover. Sentiment remains cautious, but the long-term adoption story hasn't disappeared. The next few weeks could be extremely important because if broader crypto markets stabilize, XRP may have an opportunity to rebuild momentum from current levels. But if market weakness continues, traders should be prepared for more volatility before the next major trend emerges. Either way, XRP remains one of the most closely watched assets in crypto right now, and the next move could end up being a big one.